Hey there, Johnny. All right, so I think your swing mechanics in general look great. Nothing really to complain about there. I think the thing that I would like to see would be a posture that's a little bit more athletic. Athletic's kind of a weird term, but the idea would be, like Paul Casey over here, would be to set the pelvis a little bit more tilted, add a little more knee flex, so to get the lower back just a little more bent. Uh, so I would say that the idea here would be to flex and tilt the pelvis a little bit more. Um, you look like you're on the balls of your feet, so you would stay like that. When you do that, your hands would feel like they were a little bit lower in relation to your chest. Um, so the arms would be hanging down. So you can see the angle of this shaft here. Yours is pretty high. Now, you do a nice job. From here, I just think that overall, if you would start with a little more tilt and a little more bend here and a little more knee flex, that it would just set you up to get into here and actually feel even more like that, even deeper. This Casey does a nice job in the backswing. He doesn't do so great after he comes down, but I like that position right here. Just seems to engage his upper trunk a little bit more, and he's got a little more hip. He's got a little more depth in that hip flexor there. So, and then the other guy that I would say would be a good example would be Champ. Yeah, so again, we get a little more angular pelvis there, a little more bend here, a little more knee flex. So I've got a number of his setups. So there's a good one here with the driver. Let me see what I get. So if we go over to your driver swing, so I'd say the idea would be to feel more like, the quarterback waiting for the hike, um, a little more maybe ready to run if it was like if you're running a 5K and someone's shooting the pistol and there's 100 people lined up and you want to get off to a good start. So the angle of the back here, that's quite a difference. Knee flex. So you just sort of get in there a little more. So you can see the angle between the left arm and the shaft. A little sharper. He's a little more out over the ball. So if I draw the line down from your chin, so from here, I just think that sets you up to, you're already going to be able to get that deeper and maintain that tilt there. And I think when you do that, your hands wouldn't have to drag in quite so far because they'd already be down. You wouldn't have to push them down. And at the top of the swing, you'd have a little more angle here. Pretty crazy what he does with that club, doesn't it? Look at that thing twirl. So you got the head right there, and then it It goes over there. But I think the big thing right in here is that if you're more open and a little deeper, when you fire, the glute won't fire as much up into you. It'll fire more back this way. So I actually think you would get more vertical force off the left if you were bent out over it a little bit more. But I do like the way you're loading up to the right. And if there's one thing in the driver's swing that might give you a little bit more oomph, your pelvic movement with the driver is very similar to your iron play. So you might give a shot to trying to actually keep your head to the right of its original position here. And when you start down, you would feel a little bit more of a squat, so the right leg wouldn't move as far initially. So you wouldn't quite get this angle in here. So you'd stay against the wall just another moment and see if you get the knees to separate just a hair. And then we could cut down on the lateral to about here. So just a little less over. So if you were a little deeper and you were rotating from behind it a little bit more, you might be able to get a little more push up off that left leg. So I would fiddle around with that and see what that different posture might do for you. You know, you're doing such a nice job of crunching that in there. I think if it's set up a little bit more bent over at the beginning, that right at this point in the swing, it wouldn't appear as though your pelvis was quite as level as it was there. So this is what I mean in the downswing. So if you watch, he's going to load right. Now watch the move. See how his head stays there? So it's going to appear to have less total lateral. So it's pretty sick what he does. What he does with his hands. But this is just generally speaking, from the driver perspective, is to feel the rotation from a little bit more behind it. I think you might get a little more thrust off that left leg if you're a little deeper and a little more to the right. All right.